Welcome to Distress to Joyful, Bailey's Way. I'm your host, Bailey Raber, here to enlighten you and the rest of the world about one of the most misunderstood mental disorders out there, bipolar disorder. Each week, we're going to learn more about my personal journey with the disorder while leaving you enriched with new information on how you can help better yourself as well as those around you. Welcome, friends. I hope you had a fabulous Thanksgiving. I hope that you stayed safe and well, and that you found unique ways to make this day special this year, even with all of the distance between most of us as this pandemic continues. Did anyone try out a virtual Thanksgiving dinner this year? That was apparently the new thing. I mean, what else can we do? We're not supposed to be traveling, so that makes perfect sense, right? And oh my God, it reminds me of an episode of Atypical. If you've seen the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But Sam's girlfriend goes off to college, and she's missing her friends, and she's a bunch of hours away. So she has a dinner party where it's virtual, and she makes them pick up food that she orders for them and has everybody sit around a big table, and they put her on an iPad at the head of the table, and they're like doing a Zoom call. And that was filmed probably at least a year or two ago, so like long before the pandemic even came into play. I know that we started watching Atypical, I watched the whole series all over again with Monish during this pandemic. And when we saw that episode with virtual dinner time, or virtual dinner party, I should say, with Paige, it cracked me up because I'm like, that's literally what's going to happen for Thanksgiving this year. And lo and behold, it did. So I hope that those of you who did engage in that and participated with it with your family members, I hope that it was fun. And I know it was probably weird because it was different than what you're used to. But hey, at least we have technology to help us through these times. I mean, imagine this global pandemic occurring in the 1980s when cell phones weren't a thing, when people still used their home phones, when the internet wasn't a thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. If there's anything to be thankful for this year, it's that we have technology to help us get through this pandemic. Because had this happened, pre-internet and pre all of this technology, we would be screwed as a society. For real, y'all. I hope that resonates with you and you're like, wow. As much as this year has sucked, we still have it so good. We still have it so good. So keep that in mind. Oh, and speaking of being thankful, how could I go on without mentioning that I wrote a little blog post about being thankful and practicing gratitude every single day. That is something that I started doing back in 2019, and I've continued it on. It's been almost 2 full years now of this daily gratitude practice, and I highly recommend that you check out the blog post and get in on this yourself, because it did a world of good for me, and I know it can do a world of good for you as well. So I'll have the link in the show description. Check it on out. Oh yeah, by the way, I cooked Thanksgiving this year like I said I was going to, and I posted photos on both the Instagram page and in the Facebook group. So if you want proof, you can totally go find proof. I did it. I made my first ever Thanksgiving meal all by myself with a little help from Monish, but whatever. It was it was still planned and executed by me, and I'm proud of it. And I know there are some of you out there who this was your first time doing it just as well because, again, the crazy world we live in. So I am proud of you. If you made this meal by yourself for the first time, I am proud of you. Yes, I am. Good job. I'm giving you a high five. Yep, virtual high five. Pew. Okay, so before we get started, this episode is all about routines, if you haven't caught that from the title. And if you've never been one to have a routine before, then this episode was 100% made for you. So don't you dare turn your preferred podcast player off. No. But if you're already into routines, then I still encourage you to keep on listening, my friend, because you might get inspired by some new ideas and find some ways to spice up your current routine a bit. So this is beneficial either way. So you don't dare turn off your preferred podcast player either, okay? All right, so let's start by answering the big question. Why are routines important? An article that I found on verywellmind.com reads, research has consistently shown that routines can play an important role in mental health. One study, for example, found that routines could help people better manage stress and anxiety. Having a regular routine can help you lower stress levels, form good daily habits, take better care of yourself, and help you feel more productive and focused. So guys, think about it like this. If you can make it a habit to do all of the things that you have to do at a scheduled time each day, then you'll find that you've got a lot more free time to devote to things that you want to do, like exercise and hobbies and calling your friends and Skyping with people, if Skype's even a thing. I feel like I should have said FaceTime, not Skype. Skype is so 2009, ew. Anyways, seriously though, have you ever procrastinated on things that you're supposed to do? Like schoolwork, number one, that is the biggest thing that I can think about is procrastinated on a regular basis. Man, I haven't been in school in way too fucking long, but I remember procrastinating all the time on my homework, all the time. And you know what you do when you procrastinate? You waste your time because you dilly-daddle around and you do other things when you should be doing the one thing that you're supposed to be doing. So if you wouldn't procrastinate and you just do the damn thing and get it over with, then you have so much more free time to do what you want to do, right? It makes perfect sense when it's spelled out to you like that. But like, trust me, I know from experience that when you're in the middle of it, you're like, no. You're like, but I don't want to do it. Dude, I totally get that. I totally get that. Sitting here talking to you right now is the queen of procrastination to the max. And I found a way to no longer procrastinate. I mean, I still sometimes do because dishes suck and so does laundry, but whatever. But because I put in habits to do things on a regular basis that I don't really want to do, but I force myself into doing them because of routines, I no longer procrastinate on big things that have to be done that are super important. Like finding an apartment when it's time to move. Oh man, I used to procrastinate on that so bad when I first moved out of my parents' house. Like so bad. So bad that I stayed in the same shitty apartment for the first 2 years of being out on my own because I procrastinated too long and it was too late to find anywhere else. So I had to re-sign the lease. And whew, that place was garbage. Like, ugh. I hated living there. I only lived there because they would accept my application at 18 years old with zero credit. And it literally cost $425 a month to rent the crappy little 500 square foot apartment that didn't have a washer and dryer or a microwave, mind you, back in 2012. So, yeah, There you go. There's a beautiful example of how procrastination can really hurt you. Oh, goodness. But on the topic of routines and how they can help you, man, y'all, my therapist had told me for years, that if I could develop a healthy routine of some sort, just some kind of healthy routine, it could really help to keep me out of the lows that I was in. Because she watched me struggle for 6 years. She watched me struggle with depression hard for 6 whole years. I started seeing her in 2012, and I didn't start helping myself, guys, until 2019. Yes, if you do the math, 2019 minus 2012 is 7 years, but there was a year that I actually didn't see her, so you have to factor that in. So 6 whole years, yes. And something that she used to always tell me every time I would go into her office was try to do at least one of these 3 things every single day. Eat a healthy meal, exercise, and get enough sleep. Guys, because there was a time in my life when those 3 things were so hard that I couldn't even get one of them done in a day sometimes. I was eating fast food for every meal all the time, and I would sometimes only eat 1 to 2 meals a day. If that, if I was super depressed, sometimes I wouldn't eat at all. And sleep, oh gosh, that was a roller coaster because I think I've talked about this before, but depression can actually bring insomnia, which is surprising, I know. I've been in it, so I know it, but it is very surprising to some people because a misconception with depression is that you just sleep all the time, but nope, not always. Good old insomnia sometimes comes on in. And exercising, dude, y'all, I was 200 pounds for a while. Do you really think I exercised when I was weighing 200 pounds? I'm 5'3". Like, put those two together. No, I did not. But she stressed those 3 things because those 3 are the most important things that you can do every single day in order to help keep your mental health in check. Duh, she's a therapist. That's her job, is to give me tools, and those are the tools. It sounds so simple talking about it right now. It really does. But again, when you're in the middle of a mess, I know from experience it can be hard to pick it up. Have any of you guys read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson? If not, I highly recommend that you do. But his book talks about how you only have so many fucks to give, so be sure not to waste time on ones that don't actually matter. There's an importance of things in life, obviously, and you don't want to put energy into things that don't actually matter. Stop giving a fuck about those things. But an incredible topic that he brings up in his book is what he calls the feedback loop from hell. And allow me to explain. So basically, the feedback loop from hell is when you get stuck in a negative mindset and you can't get out because it's on repeat over and over and over in your head. So for me personally, back when I was dealing with major lows in depression for the longest time in my most unhealthy years of life, is I would feel bad about myself for being overweight. So then I would eat a bunch of garbage food to make myself feel better, but then feel guilty about eating garbage food because it was contributing to me being overweight. Put that on repeat, and that was literally 4 years of my life. And then you go with, why even bother exercising? Because I'm already fat. And, they go on and on and on. Now, that right there, that's a feedback loop from hell. Because if you keep thinking bad things about yourself, you're going to keep doing bad things to yourself, like not exercising, eating way too much garbage all the time, and drinking too much alcohol as a coping mechanism. I mean, there's so many things. But, guys, I pulled myself out of that feedback loop from hell. And if you are currently in one, you can too. You want to know how? You guessed it! A healthy routine. Yes. It's exciting to me because I know that this works because I've done it myself. So I know there's got to be at least one person listening right now who is not excited about this like I am. But I'm going to need you to get on my level because I promise you this is exciting. Just keep listening. Seriously though, guys, getting into a steady, healthy routine for me consisted of exercising, eating well-balanced and healthy meals, reading self-help books, listening to inspiring and encouraging podcasts like this one here, and going to bed on a regular schedule. Now that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. It does. And I totally feel you. That sounds like, oh my God, Bailey, how do you expect me to do all of these things? I'm not even doing any of them right now. Well, listen up, friend, because you can do this. Just hear me out. So start small. When you start a new routine, you have to start small. Now, on this list, which I will list out on the show notes for you to visibly see, because if you're like me, you're a visual person. But on this list of exercising, eating healthy meals, reading self-help books, listening to encouraging podcasts, and going to bed on a regular schedule, which of those sounds the easiest one for you to do? Honestly, I'm probably going to guess sleep. Like, I would honestly guess that that's the sleep. the sleaziest one. The easiest one. I would guess that that's the easiest one because, well, we have technology, number one, and there's melatonin that will naturally help you fall asleep at night. Your girl uses it, and I recommend that you ask your doctor about that if you can use it too, because holy moly, it's a great natural supplement that helps you fall asleep at night. To go to bed on a regular schedule means just get enough sleep. Figure out how many hours that you need consistent sleep of in order to function on a regular basis. So for some people, that's 8 hours. For me, I'm a wild, energetic ball of sunshine who only needs 6 hours, which sounds crazy, and I'm sure it is to people who need more than 6 hours, but literally that's all I need. There's easy ways to figure it out, though. If you have a smartwatch, like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, you can actually track your sleep at night, and that's what I did. I started sleeping in my Fitbit and looking at the averages on, how much sleep I would get. But I would also, in the mornings, I would check on how I feel. So when I first started noticing that I was getting about 6 hours of sleep every night, I was like, okay, am I functioning all day long? Do I feel tired? Do I feel good? Like, how do I feel? And I realized that I feel good. I feel good with just 6 hours. So the next step to do, once you figure out, how many hours of sleep you need consistently, is set a bedtime. Your iPhone literally has a bedtime feature where it puts your phone on Do Not Disturb from whatever time in the evening that you say you want to go to bed until your alarm goes off the next morning. And you can literally set it for however many hours that you need to go to sleep. And when you do that, guess what? Your phone's on Do Not Disturb. So get off your phone, stop using it, and get ready for bed. It's going to take a little bit of discipline, but I promise you, once you get into the habit of that, you're going to stick with it. I mean, I even stick with it on days that I don't have to wake up early. I still go to bed early-ish. Like last night I went to bed at 11:30, which honestly, That's early considering that I used to stay up till 2 a.m. or later on a regular basis, so that's progress. Seriously, guys, pick the easiest thing that it is for you to accomplish and start with just that. And do that for 30 whole days. Every single day, 30 days. And once you can do that, add in the next thing. So maybe exercise would be next, or reading self-help books, or adding in a podcast daily. I mean, whatever it is, just start with one thing at a time. Make it a habit. Everybody knows a habit takes 30 days in order to actually become a habit. So once you have your first habit locked on in, add the second one in and slowly start to add more. That's how change occurs, guys. You have to do it gradually. So start where you can and go from there. You can do it. I believe in you. If overweight, depressed, unhealthy Bailey can do it, so can you, my precious, amazing listener. Yes, you can. All right, so now it's time to address the elephant in the room, COVID-19. I know that we're all so sick and fucking tired of it, but we cannot not talk about it while we talk about the importance of having daily routines, especially since COVID interrupted our usual routines that helped keep us all healthy and balanced. Psh, sheesh, what an asshole, right? But really, though, now more than ever, it is so important to have daily and weekly routines set in place because, unfortunately, this right here is our new normal for the time being. And while it might suck, I promise you, routines can make it suck a lot less. So with this pandemic, there are a lot of things that we cannot control. And if you are an Enneagram 8 like me, that is a problem because you like to be in control. And when you're not in control, shit can really hit the fan. If any of you guys know Enneagram lingo or language, you know exactly what I mean by that, and you are laughing so hard right now. Yes, you are. What we can focus on right now, y'all, is the things that we can control. So, what are things that we can control? And that would be, wow, you guessed it, our routines and the things that we do on a daily basis to help keep us healthy and mentally balanced. Yes, 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 yes. So here's a few things that I do on a daily basis to help keep me in a good routine and keep my mental health and balance in check. I meal prep on Sundays so that I have healthy meals all week long. I plan my whole week of workouts ahead of time, usually on Sunday evenings, and I make sure that I actually go to my workouts by getting my workout clothes together before bed each night. So I might like to add that I work out in the morning. I wake up anytime between 5:30 and 6 a.m. in order to go to workouts Monday through Friday. And if I don't put my stuff together ahead of time, then I will miss the workout because I will spend too much time trying to grab all my shit. Or the alarm will go off and I'll be like, oh, well, I didn't get my stuff together, so I'm going to just turn the alarm off. And then I don't go. I've been bad about that. So getting my stuff together before bed has helped so much because going and working out in the mornings has helped me so much. I've kept up my nightly routine that I started pre-COVID, and I'm going to make a blog post that's going to describe all of this in detail, But my nightly routine consists of an hour of a cool down before I go to sleep. And in that hour, what I do is I shower that evening unless, I've already done so earlier, then I won't shower a second time. And I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I do all of the healthcare routine stuff. I foam roll. Yep, I foam roll my legs every single night. Sometimes my back as well, but especially my legs. I do a little bit of stretching. And then I crawl into bed. I write in my gratitude journal 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for from that day. I wrote a blog post on that recently, and actually I talked about that at the beginning of this episode. Wow, time is flying, and I talk a lot. For real, though. I write down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for each night, which you can read about on my blog. And then I read a book for about 30 minutes or so. Right now, I am reading Never Eat Alone. I think I've mentioned that before. I'm still reading it. It is a self-help book on the topic of networking. And just so you know, during this entire hour cool down of all these things I'm doing, I am not touching my cell phone whatsoever. I'm not looking at my laptop. I'm not looking at a TV. My eyes are away from anything that has blue lights because, guys, the blue lights from the screens are very bad for you before you go to bed. I've had therapists and psychiatrists and optometrists. I've had lots of people say that you shouldn't be looking at blue lights before you go to sleep. I'm going to find an article, but literally it is because the blue light helps to keep your brain awake. So if you're looking at it right before you go to bed, it's going to be harder for you to fall asleep. It sure is. It sure is. So I don't do that. That's why I've picked up a real live book. I use the library system because I don't want to pay for all the books that I read, but I want to read all the books and I want to read a physical book. And that is why. And one last thing that I do every single night before bed is I take my medication that's been prescribed by my psychiatrist. And if needed, if I'm not tired enough, but I need to go to bed in order to wake up for my workout, then I add in melatonin. I mentioned melatonin before. That used to be a regular everyday thing. It's now turned into an as-needed basis, which is great because guess what? When you get into the habit of going to bed at a certain time and waking up at a certain time, your body will just naturally do it. Oh, it's so great. And you get in this amazing circadian rhythm and you just feel good all the time. Okay, not all the time. That's a fantasy world. But you feel good more often than not. Okay? Okay. And a few other ideas of things that I've heard that work for others that you might also consider doing, especially right now during this pandemic-y time, which you could schedule some phone calls or some video chats with friends and family members ahead of time each week. That way you have something to look forward to. You're looking forward to calling, your best friend Jessica to catch up. Or, Thursday, you get to look forward to calling your mom and talk to her. You can even switch it up. You can pick, one day a week where you call a friend, and every week you pick a different friend. Whatever's going to work best for you and your schedule. You figure it out. Come on, it's your life. Do what's best for you. Another thing that I heard works really, really well is designating each day of the week for a specific activity. This is very, very important, especially for those who are unemployed right now, because I know that when you don't have anywhere to go and there's nothing really for you to do and you're just searching for jobs all day long, that can be mentally exhausting and all of the days can run together because of that. Trust me, I've been there. I totally understand. So, for example, what you can do would be like on Mondays, you do an hour of yoga. So Every single Monday at the same time, set aside, I'm going to do yoga, and put it in your phone and have a reminder go off and do yoga at 3 p.m. every Monday. And then maybe on Tuesdays, you're going to work on this painting that you've been working on. So every single Tuesday, designate a time slot for you to work on your painting. And Wednesdays, you like to work on puzzles. So you set aside time every Wednesday for doing puzzles, and so on and so forth. And I had a schedule like this for myself when I was waiting for a job. Like, I had gotten hired, but I couldn't start it because of the lockdown. So I literally did this. I set across some stuff. Like, I did sewing on Wednesdays. I did podcast stuff on Thursdays. I did Poshmark stuff on Fridays. It really helps to keep your week in check. So, one, you remember what day of the week it is. But two, it helps you to organize your time and make sure that you can spend your time doing the things that you want to do accordingly. That way you don't get to the end of the week and be like, wow, what did I spend my time doing all week? No, you've gotten to do the things that you love. You've gotten to participate in your hobbies. You've gotten to call your friends. You've gotten to work out. You've gotten to do these things on top of the other things that you have to do too. Y'all, that's why planning and scheduling is so important. And for people who don't like to plan and schedule things, sometimes I just want to grab you by the shoulders and shake you and shake some sense into you because, geez, I'm such a planner that I'm just like, I don't understand why you wouldn't plan things. And, that's okay, though. It's not my job to understand why you wouldn't do things. But I'm here to hopefully encourage anyone who needs some stability in their life that it is possible. And that by getting some stability in the form of creating your own healthy routines can really, really help you stay mentally stable. All right. Well, thanks, friends. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all you. I really, really do. What you can expect for next week's episode. So, we've been talking about the brighter side of bipolar disorder lately. I mean, especially in last week's episode, more specifically. So it's about time that we shift gears a little bit and talk about the darker side of it. Because unfortunately, you can't have one without the other. Before I let you go, I would like to ask you to do me a favor and the world a favor and leave a review on Apple Podcasts because you love me and you want to help me help others, and you can help me help others by doing so. Oh boy, I really hope that does not sound annoying. I will find out when I get to the editing portion of this show. Thank you once again for being here. I appreciate you and your time. But until next time, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye!